Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. You see, my friends, in a world that never stops talking, the most powerful move you can ever make is to say nothing at all. That's right. Today I'm going to tell you why you must ghost them, grind in silence, and then shock the very people who counted you out. This isn't about running away. It's about running inward. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, your focus. And if you're ready to take that step, if you're ready to reset and rise, then stay with me. But before we dive in, press that like button, hit subscribe, and join this journey, because you don't want to miss the habits that will change the way you live and win. Hey folks, picture this, a seed buried deep underground. From the surface it looks dead, forgotten, invisible. But beneath the soil, in the darkness, it's breaking, stretching, preparing. That seed isn't wasting time, it's building roots. And one day, when it breaks the surface, it doesn't whisper, it shocks the world. That's what your silence is about. That's what ghosting really means. People think when you disappear you've lost, but in reality, you're just getting ready for your grand entrance. My friends, let me break one of the biggest lies they've told you. They said you need to keep showing up in front of them to prove your worth. They told you that if you don't post it, if you don't announce it, if you don't flaunt it, then it doesn't count. But listen carefully. True growth doesn't need an audience. Michelangelo didn't carve David while streaming it live. Muhammad Ali didn't become the champ by talking about push-ups. The greats knew the secret. Silence is sacred. Silence is where transformation happens. And I'll tell you this, ghosting isn't about blocking someone on social media. It's about blocking the noise in your life. It's about unplugging from the fake friends who clap when you're in the room but whisper doubts when you leave. It's about ignoring those who tell you you can't. Folks, if I had $1 for every time someone told me I couldn't do something, I'd be a millionaire already, without even achieving the dream. But here's the twist. Every single "you can't" is secretly fuel for your "I did." Imagine being like a lion in the tall grass, quiet, unseen, observing. The prey doesn't know what's coming. Then, suddenly, the silence ends with a roar that shakes the ground. That's what your grind in silence is meant to do. They'll think you disappeared. They'll think you quit. They'll even laugh. But when you return with power that can't be ignored. And let me add a little fun here, because sometimes ghosting is hilarious. The same people who didn't text you back, who ignored your calls, who rolled their eyes at your ideas, suddenly start asking, "Hey, where you been? What are you working on? You good?" It's funny because now their curiosity has replaced their criticism. They can't stand your silence. They can't handle not knowing what you're up to. And that's when you know you're winning, when your absence speaks louder than your presence. But remember, ghosting alone isn't enough. The silence has to be filled with grind, late nights, early mornings, sweat, sacrifice, the kind of work no one applauds, no one sees, no one cares about, until the day they can't ignore you anymore. My channel name is Powerful Stoic Habits, and this is what we're about, turning silence into strength, turning solitude into fuel, and turning doubt into destiny. So here's what I want you to write in the comments right now. Ghost, grind, shock. Say it again until it sinks deep into your bones. Ghost, grind, shock. That's your affirmation for today. Short, sharp, unshakable. And don't forget, press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me. Because what's coming next is going to change the way you see silence forever. Number 1. Ghost them to reset your soul. Sometimes you have to disappear, not because you are weak, but because your strength needs silence to grow. Think about that for a moment, my friends. When was the last time you truly pressed pause? Not just on your phone, not just on your notifications, but on people, on the world itself. We live in a culture that glorifies being seen, being busy, being everywhere at once. They tell you, show up, stay loud, stay visible, or you'll be forgotten. But here's the truth. The greatest growth doesn't happen when they're watching you. It happens when you ghost them. It happens when you walk away from the stage and reset in the dark, away from the noise. Picture this. Imagine your life as a phone. You've been running every app at once. Friends, family, opinions, social media, critics, fake supporters, all draining your battery at lightning speed. Your phone starts to lag, the screen freezes, and the battery dies. What do? You reset it. You power it down so it can work again. My friends, that's exactly what ghosting is. It's not about deleting everyone forever. It's about shutting it all down so your soul can breathe, recharge, and run at full speed again. But here's where fear creeps in. The question that plays on repeat in their minds is, what if I disappear and they forget me? What if they move on? What if ghosting means I've lost? That's the lie that keeps them trapped. The world has sold them the myth that visibility equals value, that the more they post, the more they share, the more they announce every little move, the more they matter. But listen carefully. Visibility without value is just noise. Ghosting is not forgetting who you are. It's remembering who you are without their voices in your head. Let's break this lie right now. They think ghosting means weakness. They think silence means surrender. They think absence means failure. But history tells a different story. Nikola Tesla disappeared for months into obscurity, only to return with inventions that changed humanity. Athletes vanish into off-seasons, sweating in empty gyms, training where no one claps, only to return and dominate the arena. Warriors retreat not to quit, but to sharpen their swords. The dark room doesn't destroy you, it develops you. Just like a photograph, the masterpiece is always born where no one can see it. And yes, it's going to be difficult, because disappearing means you'll have to sit with yourself. No background noise, no constant opinions, no likes to validate you. Just you and your thoughts. That silence can be terrifying at first. You'll hear doubts, you'll feel lonely, you'll question if you made the right decision. But let me tell you, this is where power is born. When they can't hear the world, they finally hear themselves. When they strip away every voice, every expectation, every distraction, they begin to remember why they started in the first place. It takes courage to unplug from the world's agendas. It takes strength to ghost people who once called themselves friends, but are secretly waiting for failure. It takes wisdom to recognize that sometimes the best way to move forward is to step back. Ghosting isn't running, it's resetting. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Think about it, my friends. When has constant noise ever brought peace? When has endless distraction ever built greatness? Never. Ghosting is the habit of the Stoic. It's the art of stepping into obscurity so that when they return sharper, stronger, and unstoppable. And the beauty of it all is this. While they're gone, the world assumes they're quiet. But in reality, they're creating storms in silence. And let's be honest, it's also fun to watch the reaction when you vanish. The same people who ignored your calls, laughed at your ideas, or dismissed your dreams suddenly start to ask, where did they go? What are they doing? Are they okay? Curiosity replaces criticism. Their silence makes more noise than their presence ever did. That's the irony of ghosting. They'll be talked about more when they're gone than when they were trying so hard to be seen. But don't forget, the real point of ghosting isn't to prove them wrong. It's to reset your soul. It's about recharging your energy, finding your focus, and reconnecting to the fire inside of you. It's about unplugging from their version of who you should be and plugging back into who you were always meant to become. Because when you return, you won't return desperate for approval, you'll return carrying destiny. So here's what I want them to do right now. Write this in the comments. I reset in silence. Say it again until it burns into their heart. I reset in silence. This is not about escaping. This is about preparing. Show yourself. Show the world. Show everyone who ever doubted you that your silence is not empty. It's the space where greatness is being born. And stay with me, because what's coming next will open their eyes even wider. This is just the beginning of ghosting. The silence that follows will shake the very people who thought they knew them. Number 2. Silence is a weapon they can't understand. Never waste your words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes silence is the most powerful scream. Let that hit you for a second, my friends. In a world where everyone is shouting, where everyone is desperate to be heard, where everyone thinks the louder they are, the more important they become, silence cuts deeper than any argument ever could. And that's why today I want to show you why silence is not weakness. Silence is a weapon. It's a storm they can't predict. It's a force they can't defend against. Imagine this. You're in a boxing ring. The crowd is loud. Your opponent is talking trash, trying to get in your head. They throw punches, they yell, they taunt. But instead of responding, instead of wasting breath, you just smile, step back, and stay quiet. Do you know what happens in that moment? They panic. Because the silence unnerves them more than your words ever could. Your stillness makes them question themselves. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what's coming, and that fear grows louder than any noise in the room. This is exactly what happens when you ghost them. They expect you to react. They expect you to argue, to explain, to beg, to prove. That's the trap, because every time you defend yourself, every time you fight to explain who you are, you're giving them control. But when you choose silence, when you say nothing, suddenly you flip the power. Now it's their mind doing the work. Now it's their imagination tormenting them. They start asking themselves, why are they quiet? Did they move on? Did they get stronger? Are they planning something bigger? And my friends, their questions will scream louder in their head than any answer you could have given. Let's break the lie they've been sold. They've been told silence means they don't care. They've been told if they don't speak, they don't matter. They've been told that in order to win, they have to be loud. They have to prove. They have to fight for every ounce of respect. But listen carefully. Power doesn't beg to be seen. Power is felt, not heard. When a lion walks into a room, it doesn't have to roar for you to know it's the king. Presence is louder than words. Silence is sharper than arguments. And I know the fear that comes with it. The fear of being misunderstood. The fear of being forgotten. The fear of being invisible. People stay loud because they're terrified of being overlooked. They post constantly. They talk endlessly. They defend themselves because they believe if they stop, the world will erase them. But here's the truth. The ones who rise, the ones who win, the ones we call great, they all mastered the art of silence. They understood that silence doesn't erase you, it amplifies you. Think about the greats. Michael Jordan didn't explain himself every time someone doubted him. He let his game speak in silence. Kobe Bryant used to say, "The most important conversations are the ones you have with yourself in the dark." He wasn't shouting about his grind, he was living it. And when the lights came on, when the game began, silence turned into shock, because silence gives you space to build, and building gives you proof no one can argue with. My friends, silence is strategy. It's not about running away. It's about controlling the battlefield. When they expect you to fight back with noise, but instead you vanish into stillness, you leave them exposed. They can't fight what they can't hear. They can't predict what they can't see. They can't stop what they don't understand. And silence, true, disciplined silence, is something they'll never understand. But let's be real, it won't be easy. They'll feel the itch to respond. They'll feel the urge to clap back, to post, to argue, to prove. Because ego hates silence. Pride hates stillness. The mind screams, if I don't say something, they'll think I'm weak. But listen, real weakness is chasing every argument. Real weakness is being controlled by their noise. Real strength is sitting in silence while they lose their minds trying to figure you out. Let me give you a picture. Imagine being a thunderstorm. People expect thunder to roar with every flash of lightning. But what if you just held back? What if you became lightning without thunder, blinding, powerful, undeniable, but silent? Do you know what happens? People don't just notice you, they fear you. Because silence adds mystery, and mystery adds power. Here's another truth they need to swallow. Not everyone deserves access to their voice. Not every critic deserves an answer. Not every doubter deserves a debate. When they waste their words on people who aren't even listening, they drain their energy, they lose their focus, and they give away their power. But when they choose silence, when they keep their energy inside, it multiplies. Silence saves strength. Silence sharpens clarity. Silence protects peace. And let's laugh for a second, because silence can be funny too. Watch how fast people go crazy when you stop responding. They text you, they call you, they send messages like, "Why aren't you talking? Did I do something wrong? Are you mad?" And all the while you're just sitting there calm, peaceful, smiling, because you know silence is making them dance. The silence is driving them more insane than any argument ever could. That's the hidden beauty of ghosting. It flips the power dynamic in the most entertaining way possible. But here's the key. Silence only works if it's paired with grind. If you ghost them but waste your silence, you've gained nothing. The silence has to be filled with work, with progress, with becoming. That's when silence turns into shock. Because when they come back after their quiet season, they won't just be silent. They'll be transformed. They won't need to announce it. The results will announce themselves. So I'm telling them right now, stop fearing silence. Stop believing the lie that disappearing means weakness. Stop thinking every word needs a reply. Choose silence as your weapon. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Let them question. And when the time is right, let your results scream louder than their doubts ever could. Here's the affirmation for today. My silence is power. Write it in the comments. Shout it with your actions. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that silence is not emptiness. It's energy. It's strategy. It's strength. And stay with me, because what's coming next will take this even deeper. The grind they'll never see. Number 3. The grind they'll never see. Work in silence. Let success be your noise. My friends, think about that. The world tells them to show everything, show the hustle, show the grind, show the progress. But the truth is, the greatest achievements in history were built in places no one could see. They weren't made on stages, they weren't made under spotlights, and they definitely weren't made for likes or applause. They were forged in the shadows, in silence, in hours so hidden the world never even knew they existed. That is the grind they'll never see. Picture this for a moment. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, day after day, hammer hitting stone, dust filling the air, progress so slow it looks invisible to anyone passing by. People might laugh. They might say, "Why are you wasting your time?" That block will never become anything. But the sculptor knows what they don't. The sculptor sees what no one else can see. And then one day, when the final piece is revealed, the world gasps. They marvel at the masterpiece, but they'll never understand the lonely nights, the sore hands, the sweat and the blood that went into shaping it. They only see the result. They never see the grind. And that's exactly what's happening with you. They see your silence and assume you're doing nothing. They think because you're not announcing every move, you've quit. They believe that if you're not showing your progress, you're not making any. But here's the truth. They'll never see the hours you're putting in. They'll never see the sacrifices. They'll never see the pain. And that's fine, because their approval was never the goal. The grind isn't for them. The grind is for you. Let me break another lie for you. They told you that success has to be celebrated at every step. They told you to post every milestone, to prove to others you're moving forward. But listen carefully. Validation is a drug, and the more you chase it, the weaker you become. The grind loses its purity when it's constantly put on display. Real progress doesn't need applause. Real progress doesn't beg for recognition. Real progress is silent, steady, and unstoppable. And I know, my friends, silence in the grind feels brutal. It feels like no one notices. It feels like no one cares. You stay up late, you wake up early, you fight through exhaustion, and not a single clap is heard, not a single congratulations, not a single pat on the back. That's why so many quit, because they mistake silence for failure. But let me tell you this. Silence is where the real growth happens. It's where discipline is built. It's where greatness is forged. If they can survive the seasons where no one sees them, then when the moment comes, they will shock the world. Imagine being a seed again, buried in darkness, unseen, forgotten. Nobody celebrates a seed. Nobody claps for dirt. But underneath, something powerful is happening. Roots are digging deep. Foundations are being laid. And when the time is right, when the conditions align, the seed doesn't just rise. It bursts through the ground with life no one can stop. That's your grind. They may not see the roots, but they'll never be able to deny the tree. Think about athletes. They don't become champions on the court or field. They become champions in empty gyms, running when no one's watching, lifting when no one's clapping, training while everyone else is sleeping. Think about inventors. Their breakthroughs don't happen on stage. They happen in messy rooms, surrounded by failures, trying again and again when no one believes in them. Think about the legends we celebrate today. We call them heroes, pioneers, icons. But behind every title, behind every stage, there were years of grind no one saw. And yes, it's hard, it's lonely, it's exhausting. That's why so few make it. Because the grind requires you to be okay with obscurity, to be okay with being overlooked, to be okay with building in silence while the world mocks you. But that's the difference between those who talk and those who become. Anyone can make noise. Few can endure silence. Anyone can post progress. Few can grind without recognition. And it's in that difference where greatness is born. Here's the beautiful part. When you grind in silence, results become undeniable. You don't have to announce them. You don't have to prove anything. The results will speak. And results are louder than words, louder than arguments, louder than every critic combined. Imagine walking into a room after months of silence. The same people who doubted you are now staring at your transformation. They don't know what happened. They don't understand how you did it, but they feel it. They can't deny it. And that shock, that's the reward of grinding in silence. But don't mistake me, silence isn't about hiding forever. It's about timing. The grind isn't a prison, it's preparation. When the moment comes, when the season is right, when the doors open, you step forward not empty, but full of proof, full of strength, full of transformation. And then the silence ends, not with words, but with impact. I'll give you one last picture. Imagine a volcano. For years it looks like nothing, just a mountain, quiet, harmless, forgotten. People build houses around it, thinking it's safe. They laugh at the idea of its power. But inside, beneath the surface, pressure is building, fire is forming. And then one day, when no one expects it, it erupts. The silence was never weakness, it was preparation. That's your grind. They won't see the pressure, they won't see the fire, but when the moment comes, they will feel the eruption. So, my friends, don't be afraid of the grind they'll never see. Embrace it, love it, because the more unseen it is, the more undeniable it becomes when it finally shows. Don't waste your silence trying to prove to doubters that you're working. Use your silence to work so deeply that when you show up, you don't have to say a word. Here's your affirmation for today. I grind in silence. Write it in the comments. Let it be your promise to yourself. Let it be your declaration to the world, not through words, but through actions. And when the time comes, when the silence breaks, shock them all with the proof. And stay with me, because what's coming next is even deeper. We'll expose the truth about fake friends and hidden enemies, the very people who drain their energy and hold them back from greatness. Number 4. Fake friends, hidden enemies. Not everyone who claps for you is cheering for you. My friends, let that sink in. The loudest applause is not always the most genuine. Some people stand in your corner not because they want to see you win, but because they're waiting for the day you fall. They're there to monitor you, not to support you. And if you don't learn how to ghost them, if you don't learn how to cut their noise out of your life, they will drain you until there's nothing left. Picture this for a moment. Imagine you're carrying a bucket full of water, your energy, your dreams, your fire. You're walking steadily, guarding every drop because you know how precious it is. But without realizing it, small holes have been poked in the bottom of your bucket. The water isn't spilling all at once. It's dripping slowly, silently, drop by drop. And by the time you reach your destination, the bucket is empty. Who poked those holes? Fake friends, hidden enemies, the ones you thought had your back, but in reality, they were draining you all along. Let me break a lie they've been fed. Society loves to tell them, surround yourself with people, don't be alone, stay connected, your circle defines your success. But here's the raw truth. Most circles are cages. Not every person in their circle deserves a seat. Some are secretly sharpening knives while smiling in their face. Some are clapping in public but cursing in private. Some call themselves brothers, sisters, or friends, but deep down, they want to see you fail because your rise reminds them of their own fall. Have you ever noticed how some friends only show up when it's convenient? They're there for the laughs, for the good times, for the moments you're shining. But the second you stumble, the second you doubt, the second you're down, they vanish. Real friends hold you up when you can't stand. Fake ones watch you fall and whisper, I knew it. And sometimes, the ones who vanish aren't even the most dangerous. The real danger is the ones who stay, smiling, pretending, draining you day by day, until you don't even notice you're weaker than before. Let's talk about energy drainers. These are the people who never bring solutions, only problems. You tell them your dream, and they laugh. You tell them your vision, and they point out every way it could fail. You tell them your plan, and they say, be realistic. But what they really mean is, be small like me. And the tragedy? You start believing them. You start shrinking your dream because someone else was too afraid to chase theirs. And here's the scariest part. They're often close. Family, friends, people who say they love you. But remember this, not everyone who loves you wants you to grow. Growth threatens comfort. Your evolution shines a spotlight on their stagnation. And instead of running with you, they'd rather slow you down so they don't feel left behind. Think about crabs in a bucket. When one tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. Not because they hate that crab, but because they can't stand the thought of it escaping when they can't. That's exactly how fake friends and hidden enemies operate. They don't want you to rise because your rise reminds them that they stayed the same. But here's the Stoic truth. Ghosting them is not cruelty. Ghosting them is survival. Every second spent explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you is a second wasted. Every ounce of energy given to people who don't believe in you is energy stolen from your dream. And every moment trying to convince fake friends to be real is a moment you could have spent building something real for yourself. Let's laugh for a second, because you know what happens when you ghost them. Suddenly, they get curious. They text you, "Hey, where you been?" They call you, "Why don't you hang out anymore?" They start lurking on your social media, desperate to see what you're up to. And when they realize you've cut off their access, they panic. Because your silence starves them, your absence exposes them, and your progress without them shocks them. My friends, the grind is already hard enough. Life is already heavy enough. Why carry people who secretly want to see you lose? Why keep pouring energy into relationships that don't pour back into you? Why surround yourself with noise when what you need is focus? Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is subtraction, removing the people who don't belong, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. And yes, it will hurt. Ghosting fake friends feels lonely at first. You'll ask yourself, am I wrong? Am I being too harsh? That's the fear talking. That's the conditioning that taught you to hold on to people, even when they poison you. But hear me clearly. Letting go is not cruelty, it's clarity. Walking away is not bitterness, it's wisdom. Ghosting isn't abandoning them, it's choosing yourself. Look back at your life for a moment. How many times have you ignored your intuition about someone only to regret it later? How many times did you sense the jealousy, the doubt, the hidden envy, but you stayed anyway because you didn't want to be mean? And how many times did that decision cost you your peace, your focus, your progress? It's time to stop making excuses for those who wouldn't hesitate to watch you fail. Because when you reset, when you grind in silence, when you shock the world, you'll need every ounce of energy. And that energy can't be wasted on fake friends and hidden enemies. It must be reserved for your destiny. So here's your affirmation for today. I release the fake to rise in truth. Write it in the comments. Say it until it becomes your reality. Show yourself you're strong enough to walk away. Show them that your silence is more powerful than their noise. Show the world that your destiny is too important to waste on people who don't deserve a front row seat to your life. And stay with me, because the journey doesn't stop here. We've ghosted them, we've silenced the fake, and now we're about to go even deeper, into the sacred art of building in obscurity, where greatness is born long before the world ever sees it. Number 5, building in obscurity. Great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. My friends, think about that. We live in a culture that worships the spotlight. Everyone wants their moment of fame, their 30 seconds of applause, their instant recognition. But here's the hard truth. They don't understand that the spotlight is not where greatness is created. The spotlight is where greatness is revealed. The real work, the real transformation, the real foundation, it all happens in obscurity. Away from the crowds, away from the cameras, away from the endless noise. Picture this. A seed buried deep in the soil. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, just dirt, darkness, and silence. No one celebrates that seed. No one applauds the roots forming underground. But without those hidden roots, the seed could never break through the surface. Without obscurity, there would be no growth. And yet, when the tree finally rises, when it stretches toward the sky, people marvel at its beauty, never realizing the hidden fight that made it possible. That's obscurity, the unseen season, the birthplace of destiny. But here's the lie they've been sold. They've been told that if no one sees it, it doesn't matter. That if they don't post it, if they don't announce it, if they don't flaunt it, it has no value. That's why so many burn out, because they're chasing visibility instead of building stability. They want the applause before they've built the foundation. They want the reward without enduring the process. But my friends, greatness cannot be microwaved. It must be marinated. It must be buried. It must be tested in the darkness before it shines in the light. And yes, obscurity is uncomfortable. It feels like being forgotten. It feels like the world has passed you by. You scroll through social media and see everyone else winning, posting their highlight reels, showing their smiles, their vacations, their perfect lives. And you start to wonder, am I behind? Am I missing something? Did I fail? That's the trap. That's the illusion. They're showing you a performance, not the process. They're giving you the ending credits without the years of struggle that came before. Don't envy the spotlight. Respect the grind behind it. Think about every legend you admire, every athlete, every entrepreneur, every inventor, every leader. Their glory was not built in arenas. It was built in obscurity. Michael Jordan didn't become great in front of millions. He became great in an empty gym, taking shot after shot after shot. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb under bright lights. He failed 1,000 times in the dark before the world ever saw success. Leonardo da Vinci didn't become a master by showing off every sketch. He spent countless hours alone, hidden, obsessed, unseen. And then, when the time came, the world was shocked by the genius that had been forming in silence. My friends, obscurity is not your enemy. It's your advantage. It's your safe place to make mistakes without an audience. It's your space to experiment, to fail, to learn, to grow, without the pressure of applause or judgment. It's your darkroom where the negatives of your life develop into something beautiful. Remember this. Some of the most breathtaking photographs in history were developed in complete darkness. If light had touched them too early, they would have been ruined. Your dream works the same way. If it's exposed too soon, it dies. Obscurity protects it until it's strong enough to shine. But let's be honest, staying in obscurity is hard. Your ego will hate it. Your pride will fight it. Because part of you craves recognition. Part of you wants someone to say, I see you, I believe in you, you're doing great. And when that affirmation doesn't come, you'll feel the temptation to quit. But hear me clearly, obscurity is where you prove to yourself that you're serious. If you can keep grinding when no one's clapping, if you can keep building when no one's watching, if you can stay consistent when no one cares, then when the world finally does notice, you'll be unshakable. Here's the picture I want you to hold on to. Imagine a construction site. For months, maybe years, workers dig deep into the ground, laying foundations. To the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening. Just dirt, just fences, just noise. But the deeper they dig, the higher the building will rise. When the foundation is finally strong enough, then the structure begins to climb. And suddenly, people notice. Wow, where did that come from? They ask. But the truth is, the most important part was built in obscurity long before they ever saw it. And yes, obscurity will separate you from the crowd. While everyone else is chasing likes, you'll be chasing discipline. While everyone else is trying to be seen, you'll be trying to be sharpened. While everyone else is addicted to validation, you'll be addicted to progress. And that separation hurts at first, but it's the price of destiny. Not everyone is willing to build in silence. Not everyone is willing to endure the hidden seasons. But those who do, those who embrace obscurity, are the ones who shock the world when their time comes. Let me add a little humor here. You ever notice how people suddenly remember you once you start winning? The same folks who ignored you during your grind will say, "I always knew you'd make it." They'll scroll back through your silence and act like they supported you all along. But deep down, you'll know the truth. They didn't see the dark nights, the lonely mornings, the quiet sacrifices. They didn't see the tears, the doubts, the endless repetitions. And that's okay, because their approval was never the goal. The work was the goal. The grind was the goal. The destiny was the goal. So, my friends, don't despise obscurity. Don't fear being unseen. Don't resent the quiet seasons, because obscurity is your sanctuary. It's the womb of greatness. It's the cocoon where transformation happens. And when the time is right, when the foundation is laid, when the roots are strong, your breakthrough will not be ignored. Here's your affirmation for today. I build in silence. I rise in power. Write it in the comments. Let the world know you're not afraid of the dark. Let them know you embrace obscurity as your advantage. Show yourself that you are strong enough to be unseen, because when your time comes, no one will be able to deny you. And stay with me, because the silence doesn't just prepare you for the grind, it prepares you for the shock. Next, we'll talk about the moment silence ends, the shock factor, when all the work you've done in obscurity erupts in a way the world never saw coming. Number 6. The shock factor, when silence breaks. First, they'll ignore you, then they'll laugh at you, then they'll fight you, and then you'll win. Mahatma Gandhi. My friends, that's exactly what silence sets up. The win they never saw coming. Think about it. The reason silence is so powerful is because it creates confusion. It builds curiosity. It plants doubt in the minds of everyone who ever underestimated you. And then, when the time is right, when your silence ends with results, the shock is louder than any words you could ever speak. That's the shock factor, when silence breaks. Picture this with me. A lion crouched low in the tall grass. For hours, maybe days, it doesn't move. It waits, it stalks, it studies. The prey grazes peacefully, unaware of what's hiding just feet away. The silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because when the lion finally leaps, the silence ends with undeniable force. That's what your grind in silence creates. It's the preparation for the leap. And when you finally move, when you finally show what you've been building, the world won't just notice, you'll shock them. And let's be honest, people think your silence is weakness. They assume you gave up. They laugh, saying, "See, I knew they wouldn't make it." They whisper, "They've disappeared. They must have quit." But that's the beauty of the strategy. Because while they're laughing, you're building. While they're mocking, you're moving. While they're gossiping, you're grinding. And then, when you return, you don't return with excuses. You return with proof. And proof silences doubt faster than any argument ever could. Let me break one of the greatest lies you've been told. They say the best revenge is living well. But here's the truth. The best revenge is shocking them so completely with who you've become that they can't even recognize you anymore. Revenge isn't about hurting them. It's about transforming you. It's about becoming so strong, so focused, so transformed that the very people who doubted you are forced to respect you. That's the shock factor. Think about it. Every athlete who was told they were too small, every entrepreneur who was told their idea would never work, every dreamer who was laughed at, the silence of their grind became the weapon of their shock. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine the whispers then. He's not good enough. He should give up. But when the silence of his grind ended, when he stepped onto the court and dominated the game, the world didn't just notice, they were shocked. Or take someone like J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers, homeless, struggling, doubted. People must have thought she'd given up. But in her silence, she kept writing. They kept grinding. And when Harry Potter finally broke through, the shock wasn't just in the success. It was in the way every rejection letter suddenly became meaningless. Her silence ended with a roar. My friends, the shock factor isn't about timing alone, it's about endurance. It's about having the patience to stay silent long enough for your work to grow roots. It's about resisting the urge to show your progress too early, because when you reveal it at the right moment, it hits harder. Imagine a volcano. For years it sits silent, just a mountain on the horizon. People forget it's even there. But underground, pressure is building, fire is forming, and then one day, when no one expects it, it erupts. That's the shock factor. Silence wasn't weakness, it was preparation. And let's laugh for a second, because you know what's funny? The same people who ignored you, who laughed at you, who doubted you, they'll be the first to act like they always knew you'd make it. They'll dig up old conversations saying, "I told them they had potential." They'll comment on your posts like they were in your corner all along, but deep down, you'll know the truth. They didn't see the nights you cried. They didn't see the mornings you bled. They didn't see the countless hours where you built in silence. That shock, it's not for them, it's for you. It's proof that your discipline paid off. But let's not pretend this is easy. Silence is heavy. Grinding in the dark is lonely. Ghosting the world feels like isolation, and in those moments, you'll be tempted to break the silence too soon. You'll want to show off progress, prove to doubters that you're working. But remember this, if you reveal too early, you ruin the impact. Think of a photograph being developed in a darkroom. If you expose it to light before it's finished, the image is destroyed. The same is true with your work. Protect it. Build it, wait for the right moment, and when it's ready, unleash it. That's when the silence ends, not with words, not with arguments, but with undeniable reality, with results they can't deny, with transformation they can't ignore. And the beauty of it? The shock will do all the talking for you. Here's the Stoic truth. Silence builds your strength, the grind builds your proof, and the shock builds your legacy. The cycle is unbreakable. Silence without grind is just hiding. Grind without silence is just noise. But silence with grind, that's the formula for shock. That's the moment you walk into the room and everyone stares, speechless, because the person they see is nothing like the person they remember. So, my friends, embrace the strategy. Let them think you quit. Let them assume you failed. Let them laugh, whisper, and doubt. And then, when the time is right, shock them all. Shock them with your success. Shock them with your strength. Shock them with your transformation. And when they ask, "How did you do it?" you won't even need to answer. Your results will scream louder than your words ever could. Here's your affirmation for today. My silence will shock them. Write it in the comments right now. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your reminder every time you feel unseen, every time you feel doubted, every time you feel tempted to prove yourself too soon. Tell yourself, my silence will shock them. And stay with me, because this journey is far from over. We've seen why silence matters. We've seen the shock it creates. But next, we're going even deeper into pain, discipline, and the dark room, the place where they'll learn to endure suffering without breaking, so they can rise unstoppable. Number 7. Pain, discipline, and the dark room. Fall 7 times and stand up 8. Japanese proverb. My friends, let those words pierce you for a moment, because this is where most people quit. This is the part nobody posts about, nobody brags about, nobody celebrates. The pain, the discipline, the endless hours in the dark room where no one is watching, where no one is clapping, where no one is validating you. It's just you, your fight, your doubts, your tears. And yet, it's here, in this lonely place, that champions are born. Picture this with me, a boxer in the ring. The crowd is roaring, the lights are blinding, the opponent is swinging. He takes a hit, then another. He falls. The crowd gasps. Some cheer for his defeat. But instead of staying down, instead of giving up, he lays there for a moment, bleeding, broken, exhausted. And then, slowly, he rises. He wipes the blood from his mouth, looks his opponent in the eye, and says, "I'm not done." That's discipline. That's the dark room. That's the reality of becoming great. The lie the world has sold you is that success is glamorous. That greatness comes easy if you just stay positive or follow your passion. But my friends, greatness is ugly before it's beautiful. It's sleepless nights. It's early mornings. It's pushing when your body screams stop. It's crying silently because no one believes in you, and then waking up the next day to keep going anyway. The dark room doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about one thing. Will you endure? And yes, it's painful. Pain is the price of transformation. Pain is the tuition you pay for greatness. Every tear you cry, every failure you face, every heartbreak you carry, it's not wasted. It's training. It's sharpening. It's chiseling you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. The discipline to endure pain when quitting feels easier is what separates the average from the unstoppable. Think about an athlete training for years, breaking bones, tearing muscles, failing in practice again and again, all for a few seconds of victory on the world's stage. Think about an inventor failing hundreds, even thousands of times, ridiculed, broke, doubted, yet refusing to quit because they believed the breakthrough was in the next attempt. Think about a soldier in training, carrying weight that feels impossible, running distances that break the body, suffering in silence because the mission is bigger than the pain. That's what the dark room demands. Sacrifice now for destiny later. Here's the truth. They'll want to quit. Everyone does. In the dark room, the questions get louder. Why am I doing this? Does it even matter? No one sees me. No one cares. No one is clapping. That's where most people walk away. But my friends, hear me. When no one sees you, that's when you're building your roots. When no one claps, that's when you're building your strength. When no one believes in you, that's when you're building your character. The dark room isn't punishment, it's preparation. And let's talk about discipline. Discipline is the bridge between the pain of today and the reward of tomorrow. Discipline is waking up at 5 a.m. when the bed is warm and the world is sleeping. Discipline is choosing water over excuses, work over laziness, silence over gossip. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling you said it in has disappeared. Without discipline, pain defeats you. With discipline, pain shapes you. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is placed into the fire until it's glowing red. Then it's beaten with a hammer again and again, back into the fire, hammered again, over and over. To the untrained eye, it looks cruel, it looks destructive. But what's happening? The fire is purifying it. The hammer is shaping it. The process is transforming raw metal into a weapon. That's you. Pain is the fire. Discipline is the hammer. And the dark room is the forge. But here's the beauty. The world doesn't see this process. They don't see the fire, the hammer, the tears. They'll only see the finished product. They'll see the polished sword. They'll see the strength, the confidence, the success. And they'll say, "Wow, you're lucky." But you'll know luck had nothing to do with it. You were just willing to stay in the dark room longer than they were. And let me add some truth with a little humor. You'll notice something funny when you rise from the dark room. The same people who doubted you will suddenly want to claim you. The same ones who whispered, "They'll never make it," will now shout, "I always believed in them." But don't be bitter. Let them talk, because their noise doesn't matter anymore. Your results speak louder than their gossip. Your transformation silences their criticism. Your discipline shocked them in ways your words never could. So, my friends, here's what I'm telling you. Don't run from the dark room. Don't escape the pain. Don't avoid the discipline. Lean into it. Embrace it. Because the pain that breaks others will build you. The discipline they mock will prepare you. And the dark room they laugh at will birth the version of you that they can't stop, can't deny, and can't ignore. Here's your affirmation for today. I will rise from the dark room. Write it in the comments. Say it to yourself every time you want to quit. Whisper it in the middle of the night when doubt screams at you. Declare it before the world. I will rise from the dark room. And if this message lit something inside you today, then don't keep it to yourself. Press that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because, my friends, this isn't just content. It's a movement of people ghosting the noise, grinding in silence, embracing the dark room, and shocking the world with who they become. And if you're ready to be one of them, then stay with me, because together we rise.